Reason one why I want to live off-grid in a tiny house is to live more simply. Well, we'd better get on with it, because it is time to sort some clothes and books out. In Jarvis Cocker's excellent sort of autobiographical book, Good Pop, Bad Pop, where he curates the content of his loft, he terms the phrase, it's a Sheffield phrase, cob or keep. Cob means chuck or keep. I'm going to add to that cob, keep or charity shop. This is my charity shop bag here, ready to go round the corner. Bakewell is blessed with, I think, 7 charity shops. It's good diggings here. Here's a rather leery summer shirt, which I choose not to wear these days. So that's charity shop. Pair of cords that I've never worn because I can't get into them now. Charity shop. I actually bought these especially, worn once, for my brother's recent wedding, which is a fantastic family event. Only took them 30 years to make their mind up. And I'm never going to wear these again, not for sentimental reasons, but I don't go to many special occasions, and I don't think there's any chance of my other brothers and sisters getting married in the near future. So that's a one-off. That's to the charity shop, as is this sort of matching shirt and tie. Again, bought especially for the occasion from a charity shop. Don't tell my brother. But that's not me. I'm not going to be wearing those again. So that's to the charity shop. Now this is a bit different. This is rather special. This is a Guards The Man's Wear wool waistcoat matching, well actually it's a one-off waistcoat with sort of brassy buttons. The finishing touch, I bought that especially, cost more than anything else, including the shoes. Here are the shoes, the rather splendid red Chelsea boots, and that's going to go on eBay, I'm afraid, because you're not going to see me wearing that again. The shoes I will keep for dancing in the street. This is one of my favourite night vests, if you like, night t-shirts, but it's had its day. That's cob. One of my favourite shirts, that's keep, as is this one. Actually, this one is a gift from my best mate, who is now building houses in Sierra Leone, and a few pairs of undies and socks, which are keep. So this bag, tie it up over the shoulder like Dick Whittington, and we're off to the charity shop. Here we are in the Shanks Library, the Holy of Holies, the precious domain, books. These books have travelled well with me 20 times in the past 12 or 15 years to Lanzarote, and they moved on Lanzarote about 9 times, and back to the UK, and now about 6 times in the UK, including of course culling them by half or a third on the way. So these are the precious remnants, if you like, including one of my earliest books when I was a student, The Dust of Death, Os Guinness. This will be about 1972, I'm guessing, 1973, when I was an enthusiastic insufferable evangelical, and that was a sort of a cultural. This is the equivalent of Mao Zedong's Little Red Book for me, the Christian cultural critique. I've got a few rather special books. This is in very poor condition. I haven't had it recovered, rebound really is the expression. This is a first edition John Ruskin book, The Two Paths. Because one, because I was at his home where he retired on Coniston Water. Well, he didn't actually live on Coniston Water, but in a rather splendid house by the side of it, with its own ferry now and visitor centre. There's John Ruskin. And secondly, because it was on the bookshelf there in a sale, but it was quite expensive. I won't say how much that was. Still haven't had it rebound. And I also visited the Ruskin Library, splendid architectural building at Lancaster, nearby Lancaster University, where if you make an appointment you can get to read his private journals and letters. And amongst other things, I read some of his letters to the young Rose Latouche, who he tutored in drawing. John Ruskin was famous not only as a writer and an art critic, but as a drawer. A drawer, is that the right word? An artist. And he also set up a workers' workshop for drawing and the arts in Walkley Library in Sheffield. That's one of his several feathers. And his goal was not to teach the workers to be really good artists, but to teach them to see. And one of his quotes that I like is that the greatest thing a man can do is to see something and say how he sees it clearly. So really they were lessons in seeing, not lessons in drawing. And here's another John Ruskin, nicely bound this one, unto this last. So you can help me. We've cobbed or kept some clothes upstairs. Now it's time. I've already cobbed for the charity shop. About 40 books here. I daren't go through them again. I'll probably end up keeping half of them. Whatever you think the opposite. Well, you think I'm going to keep it, but I'm doing the opposite. I'm cobbing it to the charity shop. Spiritual intelligence, the ultimate intelligence. Ooh, get that. Unread, not going to read that one. I can tell you where to find it if you're interested. It's at the Bookends charity bookshop by the bridge in Bakewell. It's excellent, good selection of fiction and non-fiction and travel, all for a good cause. BECMA, which is the Bakewell and surrounding area community transport. I did do a couple of sessions volunteering in the bookshop, but it wasn't good for me because I usually scrumped or came back with more books than were given. So here's one. John Parkin, fuck it. Of course you're not allowed to say that. It's F***K it. The Ultimate Spiritual Way. How to read this book. I have read it actually. Cob or keep. And finally, a very popular writer, and I enjoyed The Alchemist very much. and I bought this thinking I would read it. Paulo Coelho, The Witch of Portobello. I can't remember what it's about, so you decide in the comments below. Cob or keep. I'm going to provocatively put it in the box that I'm about to take to Bookends Charity Bookshop. Let's go. Well, this is an interesting transition. We've all done it, I guess. It's time to pack and go. And all of these framed Martin Bedford posters are coming down now, as are my Sheffield guitar heroes, Richard Hawley, Alex from Arctic Monkeys, Jarvis there. You might recognise these guys. You might not recognise these guys and girls. This is my band, the Skin Divers, from 1992. What a great location shot that is. Sheffield Keys. The girls, someone's daughters from Leeds, I used to manage. We did a photo shoot outside Buckingham Palace, nearly got them assigned to Go Discs, didn't. Got the sack. This is, I'm very proud of this, conceived and designed, although not the circuitry not made, copyright Tin Amps 2013. That was version 1 of my Tin Amps, a speaker, portable speaker in a 2-ounce English tobacco tin. The first PCBs with mods were made by a great firm in Rotherham, and I didn't have a car then, and I used to cycle by the canal and the River Don past Meadowhall Shopping Centre. Everybody's inside, not out. Take my components and on the bike with a big blue IKEA bag strung over my shoulders, and come back with a whole load of these circuit boards, custom designed circuit boards. Tin Amps, take them wherever you go. Camping, festivals, picnics, the beach. Travel speaker, and we did a special edition of all 6 Thunderbirds. It cost me £2,000 for that license. Did I get my money back? Thunderbirds are no, we didn't get our money back, did we, Phil? And then before that, this one first, Musicode. You're all familiar with the 2D barcode, that is now QR code, which is especially prominent now, well, everywhere, but for example, you go into a cafe bar and there's a square, looks like a crossword puzzle, but the QR code it's called, on the table, which links to the menu. Well, I invented and then developed with my business partner Rue Pygott this application for the music industry we called Musicode, and we took it to the MEDEM music trade industry big shindig in Cannes and ligged about on yachts. That was good fun. Eventually we did sell it to a Manchester media company and got a little money for it, but still owed $1 million, I'm afraid. It's likely to stay that way. And then another business partner and I, Nick Pascoe and I, we developed Spotify 10 years before Spotify, and we called it mybands.com, which was a personalised fan page and with news and playlists, so you could play all your favourite tracks or radio tracks. In other words, Spotify before Spotify. We nearly raised $5.5 million from Carphone Warehouse and Amadeus Capital for this brilliant idea based on acquiring the UK's largest offline fan base, which all the record companies paid to use. And just as we got to North Acton in London to sign the deal on a Monday morning, it was the weekend of the .com bubble bursting. If you remember lastminute.com, that got away, but Pets R Us and a dozen other sites just didn't get away, and the bubble burst, and it was not to be. Possibly the greatest escape in my business history, as we would have had the investors on our neck at a very tough time. So probably a blessing in disguise. You may be familiar with my the5paths.com website. I host a very life-enhancing week-long workshop on Lanzarote, and I created these walking meditations in the volcanoes, actually in the places that Cesar Manrique built on the island. And with the text, you can buy that online on my 5 Paths website. And more up to the present, we have this lovely plaque from YouTube. Oh look, you can see, but it's actually a mirror. I didn't know it was actually a mirror. This is a plaque. It's like a silver disc or a platinum disc for passing 100,000 subscribers for the Spiritual Unfoldment with John Butler channel, which I produce, and is now up to 200,000, 210,000 actually, and 20 million views, most on this camera. We've produced a DVD of his farming videos, which is great actually. It's got the 1975 BBC documentary. John was one of the original organic farmers. And in 1975, the BBC made a lovely documentary, him and his wife Shirley on the farm, and pig. And you can view that on the Feet on the Ground members section of the Spiritual Unfoldment YouTube channel. You can also buy that DVD. I'm turned into a salesman now. You can also buy that DVD on the website spiritualunfoldment.co.uk. Well, all I call this my wall of fame. I think it's good. I think it's okay to celebrate creative achievements. Certainly not financial achievements, I can assure you. But it's time for them all to come down. It's time to pack and go, and this lovely little original painting is from Sóller, spelt Soller, a lovely little mountain town on the island of Mallorca, and I really like that. So that's coming down and coming with me to the tiny house. Can join the rest of my packing. There we go. Well, it's time to pack and go, and it's quite a stressful time, it turns out, moving. Who knew? I'm in chaos, but everything's packed and just about ready to go. But it's really saying goodbye to previous lives, almost previous incarnations. Tin Amps is no more, and this is rather a splendid and original design. It's a display carousel. I'll show you how it works. So these are magnetic, and so you attach several tin amps of different designs to this carousel, and shops used to display it like this, but there really is no room in the tiny house for it. And I have to say goodbye to it. Another one of my creations, which I'm very proud of, to be honest. I'm going to keep that tin amps sign though, and that will go up in the tiny house. So here we go, off to the recycling. So this is the end of the road for Shanks's past, really. Not only moving to a tiny house, but disposing of previous incarnations. Mr. Tin Amps, Mr. Music Code, Mr. Pattern, yeah. All left behind.
I do a good impression of Elvis.
Oh, please do. I don't usually record a little video clip from my bed, and it's a bit of a special occasion because tomorrow my tiny house arrives on site after a long journey, and I shall be recording it, of course, so you'll be able to see it shortly. But along with the excitement, because I have been looking forward to this for longer than you may think. Certainly it's only been on the way, shall we say, for a couple of months, but the idea has been gestating for probably 10 years. And I don't know what you're like when your fondest or biggest ideas are on the cusp, but honestly, mixed with the excitement is it's scary. I realised only this weekend that in effect I am casting off very much in a real practical sense from a previous way of living to a new unknown way of living off-grid and in a tiny house, from shall we say bricks and mortar and all the apparent security that goes with that, which I feel is being rocked in our society these days, both ideologically and financially for many people. I'm in the fortunate position of being able to make a choice to live an alternative way of life. We'll see how we get on with it, but it strikes me as being like casting off. My ship, my Shanks ship, has been moored for all these years, and I am just about to cast it off, throw the line, and into as yet uncharted waters. I'm reminded of the quote, if I can paraphrase it, from the novelist André Gide, who says, to discover new lands, sometimes you have to lose sight of the shore for a long time. Well, let's see how long it takes for me to spot new land and feel at home in my off-grid tiny house. All Saints Parish Church, Bakewell, and some local residents, very quiet neighbours. This is the view I have enjoyed for 2 years now here in Bakewell in Summer Cottage. I've enjoyed this cottage enormously, and so have the birds on the feeder. And now the bedroom is empty. The fireplace is empty of books. What do you say to a place that you've lived in for 2 years, other than thank you? Hasta luego. And we go on to from our on-grid cottage to our off-grid tiny house.
Butterfly, butterfly, fly away home. Your house is on fire, and there's no one at home. Is that how it goes? Well, I don't know where this precious butterfly has come from, flapping its wings in the warm cottage. I've got the heating on for the last time as I clear out the kitchen, clean the oven, defrost the fridge. And there's this lovely butterfly in the middle of winter. And somehow it's a friendly moving on from cottage to tiny house. And I accept with huge gratitude the symbolism of flying free from on-grid to off-grid and everything that entails. Let the adventure begin.